Welcome back to Artist to Artist. Today I'm joined by Sarah.
Hi.
Should we get into the questions? So, how do we know each other?
Well, because our daughters met at a camp and they wanted to hang out, and then we realized we lived a block away from each other. So, we saw more of each other.
How would you describe yourself?
I'm an artist and mother that lives in Seattle, Washington. Um, my bedtime song is the theme from Taxi.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that description. If you're going to put like a label on yourself, you know how like when people do interviews, they put it underneath the person? What do you think you'd put under there?
This sounds cheesy, but outside girl.
If someone asked you what you do, what would you say?
I make comics, I make meals, I interact with my friends and family. I work, I teach, I enjoy nature.
What would you say
Mhm.
art is?
Art is an expression, a form of communication.
What beautiful thing have you seen recently?
This weekend, I went to Colorado to celebrate my sister's birthday, and we went on a hike, and the dirt there is really kind of reddish tone, and there was a lot of mica in the dirt, like it's like silver looking,
Hmm.
smooth rock, and just like flecks of it were in the rocks and in the dirt. And so as you're walking along, everything was just glittering.
What is creativity?
When you have an idea, or someone has an idea and they want to, well, express it. So that's the art part. You're expressing something and you want it to exist in a more concrete way.
Do you feel that creativity needs kind of a problem that has to be solved?
Yes, it's constant problem solving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel the same exact way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have to have some irritation that makes you want to create something to solve it. Otherwise, that spark isn't there.
Yeah.
What would you say scares you artistically?
I kind of get scared when I see people making art that um, is kind of propaganda for like oppressors
Hmm.
rather than showing a way out of oppression.
What do you think for you the hardest thing about making art is?
Keeping focus on one project,
Hmm.
because I usually have like a lot of different things going on at the same time, and I want to finish. I luckily have developed a pretty good practice of like start to finish and seeing things through, but it can take a long time because I'll get distracted and start working on this or that.
If you're comfortable sharing, what sort of is your process?
I mean, I used to not really outline stuff, or I would just kind of like throw myself into it, but I feel like if I don't spend too much time on like planning, but a little bit of time on planning, that helps me because it's kind of like a commitment or whatever.
Hmm.
And then I also tell other people about it, or like, work on it around other people, like friends and artists, so that that's also another layer of commitment to the project where
Hmm.
other people ask me about it later, like, oh, how's this going, and then you're like, oh yeah, I need to get back to that.
When did you first realize you were creative?
I didn't realize it ever, I don't think. I think I just always felt like that. Be partially too because my mom and dad are kind of artistic and stuff, so they just like encouraged it.
What inspires you?
The truth, when I see people um, being honest and acting like themselves, I'm inspired by like strong relationships and community and stuff like that, and of course nature.
Do you have any recommendations?
I think that people should read books. Even if they don't like reading that much, you can read books with pictures, or you can read um, magazines, or I don't know. I think everyone should just read more.
Do you ever find yourself like seeking out categories of either film or books that you're not used to just to get a different perspective?
Definitely. Especially recently, somebody showed me some different websites where you can see like animations from different countries,
Mhm.
especially from like the 60s or 70s on. I feel like it's really interesting because they're not following the same formulas.
And speaking of that, you mentioned recently you're working on your own short piece?
I guess I've been working on it probably for like a year and a half now, and it's like barely a few seconds long. But
Hmm.
and that's another one where I've committed to finishing it, but it's still like other projects are definitely taking more time
Hmm.
currently. But yeah, it's just it's actually a the animation itself is about creating creativity and expressing yourself in front of other people.
Oh,
It
okay.
is, yeah, the main character is a singer and kind of goes through like her internal situation, her thoughts and feelings before she's gonna produce her art in front of an audience.
And so you're in the process of like hand drawing these?
I'm drawing it on my iPad,
Hmm.
and I started it with just like the regular Procreate program. It's very rough and very DIY looking
Hmm.
and stuff, but I kind
Yeah.
of like that.
As primarily a cartoonist, do you find it challenging or inspiring to try out different media or different avenues for art?
Yeah, it's challenging and I like the challenge. Anything that I do, I feel like informs everything else, and especially my main form of creativity, which is being a cartoonist. So I never feel like stuff's really that much of a waste of time to try.
Yeah, I really love how you put that, like informs your other pursuits, because it's very true. Like anything that I do, even if I'm not technically that good at it, even that
Hmm.
process of being a beginner again and like learning how to do it, I think helps you be more deep and thoughtful with whatever you're doing.
That's
Well
a good
said.
feeling.
How can people become better artists?
First, I think people should stop thinking that they're not an artist. I think that they should just believe that they're an artist. Keep making art just every day. Every day you have to do some. You have to make something.
So, do you have that habit yourself where you create something every day?
Yeah, definitely. Something you there's rare days when I really don't have time or energy. I'll make something, and I even, like I said, everything informs everything else. So I even consider that like if I have time to cook a meal, I consider that art.
Yeah, I really like that. People ask, how can I do better at art? How can I become better? And I think that's one of the biggest things. Why do you make art?
It's just a part of my behavior as Sarah
Hmm.
because it does give me a sense of purpose. And I think without it, I would feel kind of lost in the world, like not knowing what I was doing here.
Someone came and said, you can't be a cartoonist anymore. What artistic pursuit do you think you would gravitate to?
It would probably be oil painting.
Do you make a distinction between art that you have to make and art that you want to make?
I try to find a reason to want to make everything that
Mm.
I try not to say yes to something that I wouldn't want to do either, but
Hmm.
it can feel more like a chore
Hmm.
once you're getting paid to make something specifically. But I try to find a reason to want to do it.
In your process, do you ever find yourself giving yourself problems or limitations like, oh, I can only use these colors, or I can only use this old paintbrush or old pencil? Do you ever do that with your work?
Yeah, yeah. You do that too, don't you do that?
Oh,
It
for
seems
sure.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've like kept pens that were like leaky or like the tip is busted just because like I don't like perfect materials.
Uh-huh.
I kind of like working with the constraints that those give me. So yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah, it seems like you often, like sometimes when you explain like something that you've made, you say like how it was made or like,
Hmm.
yeah, like the parameters you had. It's
Yeah.
cool.
And so you do
Yeah.
the same thing?
Yeah, sometimes I like things that are imperfect, so I'll use stuff that doesn't look perfectly streamlined or like paper, certain type of paper that's maybe even difficult.
With
Hmm.
technology the way it is, perfection is a lot easier, and it's kind of impossible for us to be technically perfect as a machine could be. So I think it's a good time to lean into the imperfections and the mistakes that come along the way.
I also want to say too, yeah, with so much of we're looking at stuff on our screens or like even anything looks a certain way or people are editing their photos certain ways. I think it's really important for us to try, yeah, to look at things that are imperfect and in real life notice and absorb through our eyeballs like real stuff, really look and absorb like real things, because a lot of the stuff that we see is just not real.
I think when you actually do hold a piece, whether it's a drawn or sculpted or however it's made, I think there's an extra level of like appreciation.
Yeah, totally.
Do you have a favorite color?
Yeah, my favorite color is brown.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That was my one of my favorite colors growing up. I picked
Yeah.
because of my middle name, anything that started with a B. So
Oh,
blue, black, and brown are my favorite colors. But
oh, nice.
is there a reason that brown jumps out to you as your favorite color?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I said blue
Hmm.
or green, but brown, like years ago, became my favorite color because I think it's underrated a
Hmm.
lot. And also because it's the color of a lot of my favorite things and things that are like really, really important,
Hmm.
like tree bark or dirt, which is like so essential for all life, or like coffee, chocolate, I don't know.
Hmm.
Uh, Lots of amazing browns, and also it's a really rich, soothing color to me.
I like that. And it's very fitting for you, I think, because you kind of root for the underdog and want things to get attention that aren't in the light. Do you have a favorite sound?
The sound of water.
Hmm.
Yeah, like could be a creek or the ocean.
How can people see more of your art?
Um, on my Instagram or my website. And my Instagram's Sarahrora, I think, Sarah Rora.
Hmm.
And my website is Sarah Romano Diehl, SarahRomano Diehl.
And I'll put the in the description so it's a little easier for folks who can't
Okay.
spell quickly.
All right, thank you.
What's your favorite way to experience art?
Live music. I know I'm more of a visual artist, but I really, really love going to live music. Sometimes that incorporates a lot of visuals too.
Hmm.
But in person, I like seeing stuff in people's houses.
Hmm. Even seeing the art in your studio right now, it's just to me, it's like little clues about the person and what they appreciate and what they like in general. It just feels
Yeah,
like you're getting a cheat code into who they actually are.
definitely. I love that. It's fascinating.
Do you think artists make better friends?
Not necessarily. Because it depends. Some artists can be really great friends, and some artists I've known can also be they can just disappear because they're so focused on something and then you don't know where they are. And
That's a fair approach, and I think you probably have a larger group of artist friends than even I do. So, kind of surveyed them, and they're just regular people at the end of the day.
yes.
Yeah. What does all great art have in common?
Honesty. I think kind of what we were talking about before. Yeah, honesty, authenticity to the person that was making it. I think yeah.
Do you have any favorite artists yourself?
Yeah, definitely. If I'm gonna say like my favorite cartoonist,
Mhm.
Eleanor Davis, I think she has a very authentic voice, like extremely, and seems like a very good person. I want to say I have kind of a funny story because I met her before. It was years ago. She had a compilation of her comics come out in a book called How to Be Happy,
Hmm.
and I went there with my daughters. They were younger, and she signed the book for us. So we follow each other on Twitter, but like I don't really know her. So the night after the book signing, she had a dream and she tweeted about it. She had a dream that she was in a car
Hmm.
with a woman and her daughters, and the woman's hair was like spaghetti and it was strangling her.
Wow.
And I was like, did I come off too strong? I don't
Yeah.
know. My hair kind of looks like spaghetti. I don't know if it
Yeah.
was me. It could be anybody, but I was like,
In your defense, I've never considered your hair aggressive. So,
okay,
yeah,
thank you
just
so much.
rest assured.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you wish people would do more?
I guess be conscious of how they're showing up for themselves so that they can show up for other people and their families and their friends and their communities. Feel the responsibility of being a person that you're not just doing it for yourself selfishly, that we're all doing this for each other.
I like that. I like that a lot. How do you feel when you make art?
I mean, usually I feel excited. Like if I have an idea, of course, then it's more exciting. Even trying to think of ideas, I try not to like get down on myself or put pressure on it because then that's not fun. I
Hmm.
really try to like just enjoy and appreciate the fact that I'm doing something that I want to do.
Yeah, I was talking to another friend in one of these interviews, and he was saying how he feels frustrated and almost like stressed during the process.
I think when people get really frustrated like that, they think making art is like this noble practice and for other people that make art, and so they want to live up to that nobleness, or they don't want to disrespect making art or something somehow.
Do you get into kind of like a flow state when you create art where you don't realize what time it is and how much time has passed? You're just creating and just enjoying that?
Yeah, it takes a while to get into that sometimes. So you have to kind of just like sit there and sit there and sit there. Yeah, again, with practice, everything gets easier.
What are your thoughts about artificial intelligence?
It's just going to take away a lot of jobs for artists. I know that, and already has. You know, I know a lot of people it's already affecting. So that bums me out. And it's like people are like, oh, well, you just got to like adapt and change with the times, like everything and
Hmm.
stuff. But I don't know. I generally have like a negative feeling towards it.
To talk about the point you said, how um, it's already affected people, I think the challenge is it's happening so quickly. And where other things like, say, the typewriter putting
Yeah.
writers out of work, it's took, decades, I would imagine, not like a couple of years where there isn't time to adjust, there isn't time to get retrained or learn something else. Do you use it to help you creatively?
No, I
Mhm.
never have.
Yeah. Is it sort of like a principle thing, or is it like, you're afraid if you do, then it'll change your art?
Nah. I don't think it would. I mean, I've seen some people do some interesting things with it. It's interesting sometimes what can come out of it,
Hmm.
but I've never had like the urge or curiosity that I would need to solve a problem with it myself.
For me, it's more like a sandbox. You can just
Hmm.
throw out different things and see what it comes up with. And
Yeah.
not so much, I'm going to copy that now and make it my own, but more so
Yeah.
like, let me explore this really quickly.
I like that idea of the sandbox and like seeing different directions that it can go, kind of like when you write a bunch of stuff on a note card or whatever and you scramble
Hmm.
it up and I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not at
Yeah.
all pressuring you to do it, but I think
Yeah.
there's some value in playing with it just to see
Mhm.
what are your plans with art in the future.
I'm in a place right now where I am just making my own personal comics, and I've been making some like little shorter ones, but I'm gonna make a longer form book, and I have an idea for it now, which I've been like in the stages of like writing, outlining and
Hmm.
stuff. And it's gonna be about a romance, like a failed romance, which is something that I've never done before. I kind of like avoided that um topic, I think, in general, just because there's a lot of stories like that out there and it's hard to like,
Hmm.
I don't want to do something that's like a pattern again, just like a copy. So it would have to be from an original and finish my animation. It will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a title for it so I can pressure you?
I've just been calling it The Singer for now.
Okay.
So you can
Okay.
call it that.
Good. Yeah. So Sarah will finish The Singer by.
By next year,
Nice.
in a
So that's
year.
2026. Okay.
Yeah,
Who should decide what art is?
no one should decide.
Hmm.
No decisions, just observe.
Yeah, and I think that's very difficult for people to do. I think if you put like a microphone in any gallery in the world, you're going to hear people saying like, that's not art. Why is that up here? My kid could do that. And I think it's an important thing to just absorb it, just take it in. And I personally wish people would do that more.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to deciding what art is, that's ridiculous.
Hmm. I like that. That's a very clean way to say it. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, nice. Would you like me to create some art for you?
Yes, I would love that.
Any parameters?
Can you make a comic? It
Oh,
could be just one panel
yeah,
or
I like
something, but
that a
I think it would
lot.
be cool if you make a comic. It could be anything. Anything goes because I consider the art form to be like very open. It could be whatever.
That's something that I've loved since I was a kid. Like that's the
Uh-huh.
first part of the newspaper I'd grab, but I don't think I've ever tried to create one. And actually, it's linked to what you were saying before, how I have like so much respect for the art form that I never really thought like I should do it until I was like super committed to it. But I really like that challenge. I will make you a comic.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want me to make you something?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be great.
Okay, we can trade.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Do you have
And then I'll try to.
parameters?
No, I don't. Oh, here's a twist for you. I'll
Mm-hmm.
say that in some form you have to incorporate AI.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And
all right.
and not the me AI, but artificial
Yeah.
intelligence, to
Not
be clear.
Ahmed Iqbal.
Yeah,
A different
exactly.
AI.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes.
Mhm.
What inspires you most, in particular, with art making?
I would say nearly everything inspires me. And I'm talking about even if I look at like a really ugly, boring building that was like corporate and just thrown together, I just see inspiration in trying to change that or like
Mhm.
how to add to it to make it more interesting or to show how bland and boring it is. It's difficult for me to see something and not be inspired by it, either from a positive or negative sense. So,
Because you're problem solving and you see potential.
are there any questions that I should have asked you or I should ask other artists?
I want to know how many artists have pen pals,
Oh,
like real pen pals.
that's a great question. Do you, I assume you do if you ask in a question?
Yeah, and a couple of the pen pals. One of them is from childhood, and and we kept up for many years. But a couple are other artist friends who it seems like, and it's just like actual letters, or one of them we just write postcards once in a while, and then another is letters like every few months or something. But
That's a really cool thing.
yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like it's also another form of accountability, I guess, is like, you're still there, I'm still here, what are you working on, kind of thing. Because when you're writing a letter, it's not online or email or social media. It's more like you have to kind of think of something important or worth sharing because it's going to be short. It's just going to be a few little glimpses.
Especially for the younger generation, it's pretty exciting to get mail, like physical mail from a person and not a business.
Exactly.
So yeah, I like that idea. I'm going to go look for a pen pal now.
You're going to get millions of letters for this. You'll have millions of pen pals writing you letters about your YouTube channel.
Well, thank you. Finally, is there anything you want to say to the people out there?
I want to say, I love you. No, I hope that everybody draws a line or writes down a thought today.
That's really nice. I like that a lot. So you are off the clock. You did a great job with this interview.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks to Sarah for sitting down and talking to me on Artist to Artist. We'll be back with another great artist and talk to you soon. Thanks.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for interviewing me.
Yeah,
One
sure
sec,
thing. Yeah.
If we can edit this part out.
Yeah.
I realized.
Did you want to mention any other artists that were your favorites, or?
Well,
you don't have to say me.
That goes without saying, obviously. Can't wait to see your comic, but no rush.
Oh, I didn't want to cut you off. Is there anything more?
That's it.
I think you're getting back into the light. So do you want to shift back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving with the sun.
Yeah. That's, again, on brand for you.
Yeah. Right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Oh, I'll just do it. No. You're fine. We'll put that in too. Don't worry.
Okay.